And action. Alright guys, hey, this is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast. Can everybody hear me? I feel like I'm muffled, but then again, I don't know. Hey, tonight, we are in New Jersey with East Coast Spirit Chasers from Union Township, New Jersey. Hey guys, what's going on?
Well, it's actually New Jersey and Virginia.
Okay.
Terry and Travis are from Virginia.
Oh, you guys are from...
Terry and Travis are Virginia. The rest of us are New Jersey.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, how far apart is that?
5 hours, maybe?
Yeah, once
5 hours?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's a good little road trip.
The way I drive,
Hey guys.
it's great.
Yeah. Welcome to the show. I appreciate you guys coming out of your busy schedule to come chat with me down here in Central Texas. There's a lot to talk about. And I'm so eager to pick Dave's mind. I don't know, man. I'm just seeing that, Dave. I gotta pick on Dave, Dave. Is that okay?
Go for it.
All right, guys. Hey, we're going to go to a quick commercial, then we come right back, and we're going to jump right into this. So, be right back in a minute. Well, maybe two. Okay. All right. All right, guys. Welcome back to the show. Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal. And this evening we are with East Coast Spirit Chasers. Welcome to the show, guys. I really appreciate you guys coming on the show. Before we get started, Melissa, what's your favorite color?
My favorite color is red.
Red. Ah, man. Red is good. I like red. Is there any particular type of red you like?
What's that?
Is there any particular type of red you like?
I like a dark red. It depends on what it's on.
Red. Let's see if I can get some red.
Her wardrobe is all black, gray, and dark red.
How's that red? That red works?
Like blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go. I like that red too. Alright, so we're good to go. Man, welcome to the show, like I said, for the fourth time. Nick, are you the CEO, the founder, the head guy on this team?
Yeah, I started this well over a decade ago. And
Tell me a little bit about the team and yourself.
well, I started this with a friend of mine. We started watching My Ghost Story, and it was just these teams. I mean, it was regular people that were investigating. It wasn't teams like it is today, and they would just show their evidence. And I was like, oh well, we can do that. So I started out going to a cemetery. And first EVP that I got was a voice that said, I'll kill them. And that was like a welcoming to the paranormal field. And from there, it just evolved. And ended up running into Melissa, who I've known for a while. I was a karaoke rock star 20 years ago. And we're just looking for someone that wanted to come out and investigate. She came out, and she's been hooked since. And Dave ended up coming across us online. He was looking for he had a passion for it. And Terry and Travis met them in prison. And that was Moundsville Penitentiary. We weren't locked up. We were investigating it, and we just kind of we're drawn to each other, and we've been investigating it.
Okay, cool. You know what, man? You guys are doing something really great up there, man. You've got 5.1K likes, and you got 5.6K followers. Hey, man, that's a lot of networking up there, man. Somebody's putting in a lot of time and a lot of effort, to get those type of numbers, man. I don't even have those type of numbers.
I would say it's the way the team works together. We're really good at getting evidence and feeding off of each other, and everybody brings something different to the table. So we get more evidence than the average, and that probably helps our numbers quite a bit.
Okay, cool. You know what? That's getting right into a couple of questions, and I'm gonna. And if the ladies can access, Melissa, then Carrie, that would be great. Melissa, with the state of, the way the paranormal field is today, there's a lot of negativity out there. I mean, there's some good, there's some bad. But, you can't have one without the other. It's like positive, negative. If you had to way to change the way the state paranormal investigators are with all the drama, how would you change that? What positive would you bring to the community?
I think we just need to focus more on what our goal is than competing with each other. Our goal is to help those who are still here in the spiritual realm, and ultimately that's what we should all be concerned about.
Okay, good answer. Terry, what would you have to say on that question?
I do agree there's a lot of competition between teams. Not sure why exactly that is, because we all seem to have different goals. And as Melissa said, we tend to do what we call a lot of paranormal therapy, helping people to be comfortable where they're at, spirits to be comfortable where they're at, maybe giving them some peace of mind as far as it's okay that they're in their world and we're in our world, and just making sure they're okay.
Okay. All right. Well, great answer, guys. I appreciate that. Dave, Nick, a lot of people hate Ghost Adventures. A lot of people hate that team. What do you think about Ghost Adventures and how they investigate and how they do things? Do you think it helps the paranormal world, or do you think it hurts?
Well, as far as Ghost Adventures go, I like the presentation. I'll give you that.
Okay.
A lot of it, as you know, is for TV, so things are a little embellished. I think a lot of the things that they do there is pushing more of the darker stuff, thinking, that's going to get the ratings. But the reality of it is that, there's not everything is demonic as what, some of these TV shows make it seem to be. So you take it as entertainment, and that's what I do.
Okay. All right. Now, Dave, what can you,
Yeah, to me, they're pioneers. They really brought paranormal to television and helped it explode into what it's become. And I always appreciate that about them. They use different techniques than us, but they bring in some pretty big people, and I respect what they brought to the table and what they've done for the field. They've gotten recognition. I don't look at anybody as competition. We're all out here to, do good and try and help the craft and try and help people feel comfortable about them and ease people on. But at this point, I have to give credit to Zach and his crew. They have brought it out to the table. And the reason paranormal really took off when it took off because of that interest.
Now, can we actually, when you just, because you mentioned just something that it took off. Now, are you just, what you to me, that's what you're saying, that they took off. Now, are we not talking about the other teams that come before them as well? Or do you specifically pick them because they...
I'm saying they took off because they were the show that really started drawing large numbers in. And there's a reason they're still on TV even to this day with their following. And they were a springboard to other shows. And to me, it's like I started getting very interested by watching them. And I would watch episodes 5, 6, 7 times and look forward to the next one. So I think they brought a lot of appeal to paranormal investigating and techniques. And they, there were other shows, but they weren't nearly as popular as Ghost Adventures. And they keep some forefront stuff that people have seen. And I think credit's due. To me, credit's due. They're, in a way, they were trailblazing for the group, and then they brought a lot of notoriety.
And I mean, they're on like, what, 15 or 16 now. And I think one of the things that kind of drew people into them was they did show personality. They did, like joking around like that, kind of, be relatable to the audience. So, from someone that watches the show, you want to see some sort of personality or something that you can connect to. And I think that pretty well.
Now, would you guys say that Taps, will have a lot to say in this conversation? I mean, because they did bring a lot to the table when this whole thing first started. Not only did they brought the scientific aspect to paranormal, and as well as other things. Now, how do you guys feel about Taps and what they brought to the table also?
Well, I think Taps was kind of, to me, it's more like they really do the investigation thing. As far as like debunking, they look at the science of things. It's very serious. They're there. They mean business. So that's I think part of this. They've been able to show people this is how you investigate, and it kind of laid the foundation for you're not thinking everything as being paranormal, kind of deep. And that's basically the foundation.
Okay. Now, Dave, I'm going to stay with you, Dave, for a minute. A lot of people criticize Hollywood for what they've done to the paranormal field. A lot of teams that I'm talking to doesn't like the way Hollywood has presented us as a whole, as a family, and as a community that's out there that's trying to search and and look for what's going on the other side. But yet, it seems like every time something's positive is put out there, Hollywood always seems to bring something negative. If it doesn't come with a new TV show, it comes with a movie. How do you feel about what Hollywood has done? With the field that we love to do.
Right now, I'm not a big Hollywood fan to begin with, but I don't know if I would critique them when it comes to paranormal. There's a lot of movies that come out that are kind of spawned from things that the paranormal investigators find, and I think what it does is it percolates in an executive producer's mind and a writer's mind, and they run with it. And we've seen a lot of horror movies are switching over from the slash and gash movies or the blood and the knives, and they're turning more into spirit, ghost, paranormal. So I think we've actually seen an increase in those types of movies, some of them doing justice to the field and some of them not.
Okay.
I wouldn't let Hollywood drive me either way. I don't pay them that much mind, but we're still going to do what we do, and those that follow us, and we're happy with it. And but I do think that the genre has moved more from the the murder and slash to more of the paranormal, scary, not knowing what's out there. That seems to draw more people in.
Right. Now, okay, I'm gonna stay with you, Dave, for a minute. Can you tell me the difference? Because a lot of people that I talk to, they always ask me this question, and I'm curious to know what other people think. You know, a lot of people think that we're two are the same. A paranormal investigator and a ghost hunter. Can you tell the audience what's the difference between the two?
Between a paranormal investigator and a what?
And a ghost hunter.
Hunter almost sounds like you're looking for prey. As a paranormal investigator, we are looking to debunk. We are looking to find what can't be debunked. There's a big difference between the two. As a paranormal investigator, you're looking at the science behind it, the reality, what your eyes and ears tell you, what your senses tell you. You're looking at for an explanation. A hunter sounds more to me like someone who's just trying to encounter and have an event. They're not trying to figure out the event. They're not exploring it in a manner that an investigator would. We have to take it down and break it down. A lot of times what we're able to do, which works with our group very well, is between Terry and Travis's abilities, we're able to corroborate them with our equipment and with what we're seeing and hearing that's around us. So we feel like we're constantly putting a puzzle together and getting a picture by the end of the evening. A hunter, it just sounds like they're out there looking to have an experience. They're not looking to explain their experience.
Sorry about that, guys. I am trying to get some audio cleared up here. So let me figure this out right quick.
I just let my dog out.
Okay, you guys there?
Yep.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep, we hear you.
There's no background
I
noise.
can't hear you guys. All right, so let's see here.
Did you
Mike.
say you can't hear us?
Yeah, he said he couldn't hear us. Paranormal difficulty.
Travis, why don't you sing for us while he's working on the audio issue?
If I can.
Hello? Hello?
We can
Travis
hear
is
you.
a
hear you.
voice angel. Just want to put that out there.
He might be able to hear us when we get all this static.
All right, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
We can hear you.
Okay, but I can't hear you guys. That's weird.
What happened?
What about now? Can somebody see?
We
Yeah,
can hear
we hear
you.
you.
He still can't hear us. But anyway, Nick, since we can talk, we started getting names for next week.
Get rid of that. Let's see here.
Yeah.
And
Now, do you think that's
there.
location?
What's that?
Oh,
I think it comes from the Tappahannock location.
All right.
Because that's what I was thinking of. And, you know, I was, thinking of this podcast and then next week's
all right, can you
investigation.
guys hear me now?
Yes?
Yeah.
But I can't
Mike,
hear you guys. That is
You're
so
very
weird.
clear right now.
Wait a minute. All right, what about now?
Yeah.
Yes?
I can't hear you.
Terry Gilbert, tell us how you got into paranormal.
Well, I guess we could continue, right? At least entertain the folks, right?
Yeah, go.
So we got into paranormal because of ghost hunters. And when Travis was 14, he wanted to go to Gettysburg for his 14th birthday. So that was his 14th birthday party, a trip to Gettysburg.
And what was your first location?
It was with Gettysburg Paranormal. We did one of their, they do public events every weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It was the old farmhouse that they do. And I still wasn't quite sure if I believed it or not, but
Yeah.
we got stuff.
And you didn't realize you had the abilities that you do.
Oh
today.
no, I had no idea back then. No, and back then I didn't even have the feels. Remember the feels?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even have the feels back then.
And you didn't even know that Travis could see dead people.
No, I didn't. He never told me.
So how many years after your first investigation that you found out that he could see them?
Oh, it was a couple of years, right? Because we were with you for for a little while before we found out, right? Remember?
Yeah.
We were with you. I mean, we were with you for at least a year before we realized Travis could see them.
Do you remember the moment that he's like, I can see them? What was that? You don't remember?
I don't remember that moment.
Well,
Travis.
Go ahead.
up to the day I told her I was giving her a very subtle hint.
He was giving me subtle hints.
Little hints? Like, oh, there's a guy without a head over there. Like,
All
subtle
right,
like
guys,
that.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I can't hear you.
All right.
Well,
So,
hopefully
Travis, how old were you when you first saw dead people?
Like somewhere around 10.
10?
Do you remember the first one you saw?
Well, if it was around 10, because we had a spirit in our house back then for years in our townhouse that I sold last year. We had a ghost that lived there with us. I never identified it. Remember, before I sold it, we went, Tracy and us went back to investigate it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think we identified it, but the same spirit was still there. So I asked it to be nice to the new buyers,
Mm-hmm.
but not the following.
Travis, do you remember the first spirit that you saw?
Where are you?
No.
No. All right.
But I do remember when he was little, there always used to be like a cross. You know, like if you wet your finger and put a cross, there always used to be a cross on his window in his bedroom. And every time I washed it, there was always a cross on his window. Like, just like you went like that.
Mm-hmm. It's like almost like a spirit was saying, hey, you're protected.
Yeah.
Like they're going to look after him.
Yeah.
And, since then, he's got an entourage of spirits that actually follow him around. Terry, why don't you tell us about the squad?
So the entourage, Remy, stop. It's time for the dog to walk. She knows her time. So it started off with Eric and Travis, Spirit Travis, at a high school in Maryland. When Travis was, after he graduated, he went to like an after high school program for kids with special needs.
What about now? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Mhm.
And it was in a normal high school. And he started seeing these two spirits in the high school gym. We actually have a story of it on our YouTube. So for all of you that do not know, go to our YouTube and look for Chasing Answers, episode 3, I think.
I think it's episode 3.
I think it's 3. Yeah.
It's called
Chasing Answers,
Spirit.
School Spirit. So then when COVID hit, they started following him. But the whole story is on YouTube, so go check out our YouTube. And then who else do we have? We have the farmers. So we have one farmer from his grandparents' original house that they sold a few years ago. And then we have a farmer from the property that his dad owns now, which is a huge farm in Virginia. There's a farmer there. So that's the two farmers. And Travis crossed over, Spirit Travis crossed over. So we still have Eric, the two farmers. Who else?
Sometimes
The soldier. Yep, the soldier who also comes from the same farm. And we
can't hear nothing.
We assume the soldier comes from the Civil War because that's the area in Virginia through Warrenton. The Civil War came through there, so we assume he's a Civil War soldier. And then we have Will, who is usually with Dave, but once in a while he's with us. Will comes from Flight 93. We picked him up at the Flight 93 Memorial. We taught him to go visit his family, so he doesn't stay with us as much as he used to, but he's still here when we need him. Who else? Dave's dad is with us a lot. Tracy's dad comes along. So when we need protection, we definitely have one. Is there anyone else that I'm missing?
It was a little girl.
What was the one from the book?
What is going on? I can't hear anything.
The one from the book, I don't remember her name, but she follows Tracy. She's not usually with us. Charlotte's from the book. So Charlotte was an attachment to a book that Tracy and Travis picked up at a thrift store, an antique store. And as we all know, some objects are haunted that come from antique stores. Remember that one? What was it? That one that I got on the way to New York? Aaron still has that. I don't know what Aaron did with that. That angel figure?
The angel statue.
The statue. I picked it up from a thrift store on the way to what investigation? Rolling Hills?
I want to say Rolling Hills.
So
I think it was, yeah. Because we looked for Roy, who was the 7-foot tall shadow man.
And he was in the same cemetery as that lady. So just to tell the story, I randomly stopped at a thrift store on the way to New York because we needed to get out of the car. And Remington, stop. Dogs are being and this angel statue called to me. And we all know that when something like that happens, you shouldn't buy it, but I bought it. And there's always a reason why this kind of stuff happens. So when we got to New York, I'm not sure if he can hear us. He's looking at us intently. But when we got to New York, we did a little investigation with this angel statue. And coincidentally, it turned out that it belonged to an elderly woman who passed away. And we got her name. And when we Googled her, she happened to be buried in the same cemetery within miles of town. So, and unless Aaron threw it away, because remember, for protection, Aaron took it with him. And I tried to get it back at some point, because since then I've started collecting angels. I don't know why. I have this crazy obsession with angels now, ever since
I
that
still have pictures of that statue.
Do you?
I do.
So ever since then.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear us? No. So ever since then, I have this crazy obsession with angels. And since we got this new house in Virginia, I'm excited to get my angels out of storage. So
And you know, if anyone needs angels, it's definitely Terry, because she gets affected a lot at a lot of these locations. And it's not necessarily because something's being malicious; it's because sometimes the energy, it can be so overpowering for you.
yeah,
You want
it
to
is.
maybe elaborate on that?
Yeah, a lot of people believe that when you get affected or you get sick, because I get sick a lot, I vomit a lot, that it's something negative affecting you. And a lot of people have this belief that all negative spirits are demonic, which I don't like, because very rarely is a spirit demonic. Not that we haven't encountered them, we have, but most spirits are just in
Cranky.
need of cranky, in need of therapy, right? And sometimes I get affected because the energy is just so much. There's so many spirits, there's so many feelings. Because remember that I also pick up all their feelings as an empath. I feel everything that the spirits feel. So whether that makes me nauseous, or I might get a headache, or if somebody died, for example, at Belgrove Plantation, where I felt like my neck was ripped open because of that guy who committed suicide by
Yeah, that was
slicing.
actually the first place you spit blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Because-
we debunked it that her nausea was not Dave's cologne. So that was, I just want to put that out there.
No,
Interesting.
that's where that guy, the caretaker, was he a caretaker that committed suicide?
Dave,
Yes.
you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
the caretaker. He had slit his own throat and then immediately regretted it and tried to pack it with leaves.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and that back then when we did Belgrove Plantation, that's when all of my stuff was just like really picking up, right? So I wasn't quite sure how to handle it or how to deal with it. But
Still
we've had a
developing.
lot of hi Aunt Debbie. We've had a lot of really good investigations where I was affected and was able to know how somebody died or how someone behaved. For example, the one in Virginia that we can't mention, but where I felt like I was being attacked and they held my ankles and my arms. And because that's what they used to do to the women back then, is that's how they would attack them. So they did the same thing to me.
Yeah.
So
Oh, wow, interesting. Sorry about that, guys. Man,
oh, you
had
can
some
hear us
serious
now.
Welcome back.
technical. Yeah, sorry about
All
that.
right, we
Man.
were
That's
just
okay.
talking.
We were entertaining the folks anyway.
Well, thank you. You know, I got all this new technology, man, and I'm trying to figure this out as I go. The new mic, the soundboard, and all this stuff. You know, just trying to make the podcast sound better and be better.
You're much
But you know,
clearer now, as clear as could
it's
be.
Yeah,
it's
it's much better.
it's still a work in progress. So I had to reboot the system, come back. I'm back, and
Well,
hopefully
we
I'll
kept
stay back.
talking while you were gone. We talked about
Well,
Terry
thank
and
you,
Travis
Debbie.
and their abilities.
Hey, I appreciate it. But you know what? Quick question, guys. How many of you guys have abilities? Can I get a hand raise?
Terry and Travis.
Okay, just Terry and Travis. This question goes for you because I am so concerned about individuals with special abilities, whether you're a medium or warrant. Uh, you know, there's so many witches, you know, whatever, you know, these guys out here choose to be. The question that I have for you two guys is why is it so hard to find a medium? Why are they not coming out the closet and representing y'all's community as a whole? But yet I see that there are so many that are wanting to open the door and step out the door, but they choose not to. And I'm
Well,
just curious.
for me, I mean, just my opinion, but there's so many people out here who are mediums but aren't mediums, that then there's people like me who have these abilities, but I don't advertise it outside of my team. And I don't advertise it necessarily in my daily life unless people really know me. and that's just because part of it is confidence, part of it, all of that stuff. Part of it is that so many people in the world don't believe, and there's still that stigma of maybe she's not right in the head, I guess. So, and that's just my personal opinion. But, and I guess as Nick and Mel always say, that what we pick up, or what happened to Nick and Mel.
I had enough of you.
that my ability should speak for themselves at this point, like the stuff that I've been able to do or come up with, or for example, just recently, they're back.
We're back.
Just recently at a client case that that was at Nick's house. At Nick's house recently, I just randomly, after the fact, when I was watching the video, figured out the spirit's last name. So we were able to identify his first and last name, and then find pictures of him. And I don't know how I do it. I just do it. So I think part of it is that people just, or mediums just don't necessarily feel comfortable coming out or speaking openly.
Could also argue that some pretend to have abilities that don't, and some with abilities are looking to capitalize financially off of that, which is not the category you're in or many others.
Right.
This is me, and I might, a lot of people have agreed and disagreed with me, and that's where a good debate comes in. I think that mediums, people with special powers, are the key to the future of the paranormal field. Because for the simple fact is they can actually do a lot more than what the average paranormal investigator can do. I mean, bear. Sorry about that. But you can sense, communicate, see, hear, talk to these guys, and and come to a clear understanding. But I think in the near future, you guys will have a lot more to say about this if the medium community can come together as a whole and stand their ground like witches have. We all know that witches have been prosecuted for thousands of years. But somehow, some way, they have seemed to come together, unify, and educate on what they are, what they're about, and what their beliefs are. So I'm praying, and it might not happen in my lifetime, and it might not happen in your lifetime, but then you guys will have to come together, because I think the key to all this is you guys.
I agree. And it would be nice if the general public someday, or more of the general public, believed and didn't assume that it was all negative. A lot of people think witchcraft is all negative, going back to the 1600s. So I think if it was more accepted, more people would talk more openly.
Now, if you were somebody that had that power to make all this possible, how would you go about doing that?
I think you'd have to come up with a way to make people trust and believe that it's not all negative. And the problem is, like anything in the world, most people use witchcraft, for example, for the good. But you do have a few that do it for the bad. And that's the part that people see, right? They see the bad part, and then they just assume. So I think part of that would be making people believe, or helping people understand that it's not all negative. It's mostly good.
Not just negative, but you also have false mediums that
100%.
They ruin it for the field, and they turn some people off. And then people are like, well, if they were false, I assume all mediums are false, and I don't believe it. And I'm being you're trying to hoodwink me, you're trying to trick me. And so that turns negative perception towards it, which makes it harder for
100%.
you guys.
Yeah.
You legit guys.
I mean, you could see it at any major Paracon event. There will always be multiple mediums, and there will always be one or two who are faking their way through it, but they're getting paid $30 or $45 for a 15-minute session. You know, and it's just, unfortunately, it affects the whole field.
Okay. All right. Nick, let me ask you a question, bro. There's a lot of things going on down here in Central Texas and Texas, the state of Texas as a whole. A lot of people are, especially the school districts, are wanting to put parapsychology into the high schools and into the college ranks. What do you think about kids learning about the paranormal at the high school level and at the college level? Do you think?
Dave should take that.
This is more of a Dave question, and
I run
Dave,
a paranormal club at the high school.
What do
And
you think about that?
I think it's very therapeutic for some of these kids that have abilities or have seen things and they're afraid to talk to their own parents about it. Some of them have pulled me aside in secret and told me, you know, there's something I'd really like to talk to you, but I can't talk to my parent about it. I found it to be very therapeutic for a lot of these kids that were afraid to come out of their shell or talk about an experience. And I see it all the time. And I see large groups of these kids get very attracted to the paranormal club. You know, we get pretty good numbers, and you always see it with the incoming freshmen when they're eighth graders looking at clubs and activities in the high school. We set up a table and they flood over. They want to know, what's this club about? What are you guys doing? What do you guys talk about? And I had this experience, and I let them share their own experiences. I let them ask questions. We go all over the place with it. Nick and Mel have come and presented. Terry came to the high school and helped us do an investigation of the building with Travis, Nick, and Mel. We've shown the kids how to use the equipment and the equipment that we use. We showed them the techniques. We've showed them video evidence. We've allowed them to tell their stories. I've brought in people that have done chakra reads for the students. I've brought in mediums that have talked to the students and done reads. And I bring in guest speakers pretty consistently, and we talk about it and we analyze new techniques, belief systems, what people are seeing and hearing, and new experiences. And I think there's a large group of kids that thrive off of it. I get good numbers.
Okay. Now, what I need for each 5 of you guys to do is, if you guys can get together, sit down at a table, and come up with and Dave, I want you to be the ringleader on this.
Okay.
To come up with a paranormal dictionary.
Paranormal dictionary.
Yes. Is that possible?
You mean in defining terms of the paranormal?
No, I mean defining words that are accepting to when we speak to individuals that are no longer with us. Instead of using the same words, because the dictionary and our alphabets are too big and too large for 1,005.5 million people to keep using the same damn words every time we investigate. Now, and I'm going to be very honest with you, and I'm going to be blunt with you. If I was a spirit, Dave, Terry, Travis, Nick, and Melissa, if y'all came to my residence and asked me to drop can I light up that damn cat ball? I'm going to throw a hissy fit.
Yeah. Okay,
You know
so I know where you're going with this, and I am going to tell you one thing that we try and do pretty extensively is we like to come up with questions, out-of-the-box questions, and we like them to be personal. So an example I would give is at Edinburgh Manor, I was in the basement with Joker, who's been on all the ghost shows. They didn't know if he was a poltergeist or an entity. We believe he's an entity. I got personal in an EVP, and I asked him who let him down in life, and the reply came back, my girlfriend. And we don't like the whole, the whole constant, what year did you die? Do you know you're dead? Do you know how you died? Why are you still here? Is it okay that we're in this room? Like, we don't like those standard questions. We try and go deeper on an emotional level that's going to show their personality and bring them out.
Because to me, that sounds like nagging.
Hmm?
I really don't like because when people do that and they say that, it sounds like quit nagging me, man. I mean,
Yeah.
there's too many things, too many ways that you can communicate with me and have a civil conversation without me hearing the same damn thing I heard 2 days ago.
Yeah, they don't want to hear how many are in the room and who was your favorite president and do you know you're dead. They're past that. You want to get a connection with them. Terry calls it paranormal therapy. When we find out what's irking them or what's going on, is there a way we can draw it out of them and help them in any way? That's what we're there for.
And, we also talk to them like they're right there in the room too. And, we have a passion for this, but it's also fun for us. So sometimes we'll do things to try and break the ice and make them laugh. Like, for instance, like we mentioned, we do out of the box type experiments. As if there's a piano at a location, I'll say, I'm going to play a wonderful composition that I wrote and let me know some feedback. So I've never played piano, but I play some nonsense and then I ask feedback. And a lot of times we'll get them laughing and, enjoying talking with us. And I think doing stuff like that kind of opens up for more dialogue that's going to come and they'll be more receptive. And I think that's one of the keys as far as why we get the type of evidence that we get is because we come off as warm, friendly, instead of these investigators that come out there and provoke them.
Right. Because dialogue is the key to everything. It's the key to what we do. Because you want that dialogue, you want that perfect communication between.
That was my dog. That was my dog.
But you want that communication between the two, or 15, or how many are in the room, and it's a good thing because I just don't want, because I'm tired of it. I just don't want. I'm tired of, the basic paranormal investigating. At what point, guys, like you say, David, when are we paranormal investigators are going to start thinking out of the box instead of in the box?
Now,
we have to evolve as paranormal investigators. Everybody has this one way of doing it, but you have to try different types of experiments. Like, for instance, we were at Hillview Manor, and we were talking with the ghosts. We had a good relationship with them, and so they said to draw a picture. So we had Dave draw a picture, and he drew a picture of a shark, and it was Pictionary with spirits, and they were interacting and they were enjoying the presence, and to be able to say, yeah, we played a game with the spirit, and they played along and enjoyed our presence and gave us great evidence as a result. What more can you ask for?
Because Nick asked, what did Dave draw? And they said shark.
Yeah.
So it was like we were playing Pictionary with them.
Now, Travis, I'm going to pick your brain here for a minute. How long you been a paranormal investigator?
10 years.
10 years, bro. Let me ask you a question. Is it possible that this whole paranormal thing can be like a little role reversal? Is it possible that they are trying to do the same thing that we're trying to do to them? Is that possible?
Yes.
Travis is a man of few words.
Oh. Well, you know what? By you saying yes, can you elaborate why you say yes? Why would you say yes?
They're trying to figure us out.
They are out to figure us out.
So as much as we're trying to figure them out, they're trying to figure out us.
Exactly.
Right? Keep in mind that we do prefer the out of the box stuff, but sometimes you do have to ask those basic questions because you do have to know or try to figure out what time period or what kind of spirit, because keep in mind that you have to speak to a spirit who died in 2000 different than you treat a spirit who died in 1850, in the sense that in 1850 women didn't have rights, so we can't talk to men the same way we talk to men in 2000. So we've run into some difficulty with that before. With
Now, interesting. Now, I mean, because I hear the whole time loop thing when I talk to most of these teens that are out in the world. I constantly hear people, well, I've communicated with a person that died in 1860, and he understand everything that I'm talking about in the year 2024. Is that possible that they can time jump like that and still understand what is going on?
Well, I think some spirits do and some do not, and we've got evidence of both. There's some spirits that see things progress as time goes on, where they know, this place was run down and it was fixed up, and it's now a place for people to come visit, like a museum or something like that. But then there's those that still see things the way that they saw it when they were alive, and a lot of them there's I think there's different rules for specific spirits. Like for instance, some of them feel that they are just stuck to a certain location. Others think that they can go wherever they want. So I think it's almost spirit specific as to how far they're advancing in the afterlife.
Now, from what I was told, and I could be wrong, I don't know, because I've yet to cross over. I'm still here on the boring side of things. I think it's more action on the other side. It's it, oh man, just talking about this, sometimes it can blows your mind. But it's really hard when you try to explain this thing to somebody who don't understand or don't want to understand, or tells you, hey, put that away. I don't want nothing to do with it. Blah 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 this. Do you guys get the same reaction when you guys come across your favorite little enemies? And I'm not calling them enemies by a thing, but the church. The church always has something to say negative about what we do. How do you guys feel about the church?
I try and separate religion when I can, but there's a time and a place for everything. And, I know, Carrie, if you want to take over the crossing over and what our experience in crossing them over on the religious aspect is, we're very careful because we don't think any religion has the cornerstone. We talk to them about just going to the light, that it's welcoming, that there is forgiveness. Don't worry about judgment. Don't worry about non-existence. And we feel like they need the affirmation to go, but we try not to get too biblical with it. Early on, we had to be careful in what we said because you don't want to exclude other religions. You don't want to make it about go to Jesus, because somebody could be Jewish or Hindu or Muslim, and that's not going to be their experience. So we have to be careful in what we say. We have to leave religion out wherever we can. As for how the church reacts to what we do, I haven't personally seen it. I haven't seen the church come out and, hey, take this website down, or we don't like this. Nick or anyone else, can you talk on that? Because I haven't seen the religious outside coming down on us in any particular way, personally.
No, and I think a lot of it is your beliefs, the way that you're brought up. Some people are taught to believe that, ghosts don't exist, and it's drilled into their mind. So I think that might play a part of it as well, as, when they have an audience, they're just going to go by their beliefs that they've been taught as well.
Right. And a lot of certain religions, they're just taught that any spirit earthbound is demonic, which I definitely don't agree with. And to back up what Dave said, when we're crossing people over, which we do at cemeteries and stuff like that, if we're out in, so we randomly go to cemeteries sometimes just for something to do. I used to always say Jesus or God because that's my belief, right? And really, it wasn't until we picked up Will at the 93 Memorial that I realized that a lot of people that died in 9/11 were Jewish. So that's what helped me to make the transition to stop making it about God and just make it to the light. And if I do say God, I'll say whatever God you believe in.
Yeah, because you don't want to be exclusionary and you don't want to direct them in the wrong way. There's just too many belief systems out there.
And I don't want to offend. I don't want to offend any spirit into thinking I'm not telling the truth because they don't believe in God. So they're not gonna go, because we all know ultimately, even though in our field we like the spirits here to communicate with them and to learn more about, for us, we to investigate them, to learn. For us, for me personally, I like to know their story.
And ultimately, we're not looking to push or peddle religion in any way. But
the ultimate paradise is to go to the light, right? That's the ultimate happiness. That's the final ending. So even though we want the spirits here, in most of these big locations have great spirits, everybody deserves happiness, right? Everybody deserves that final piece. So yeah.
How do you guys feel about haunted items? A lot of people love them. A lot of people collect them.
I'm fascinated by them, especially dolls. Like for instance, Wildwood Sanitarium. We got some of the most incredible evidence there, and it's a doll room, and it's got to be $100 or so, and they were talking so clear to us, giving us answers, and it's just fascinating. We went to the Archive of the Afterlife in West Virginia, and they have the haunted item there, but then they have like a little story about stuff. So we had a chance to investigate there, and there was one doll. It was called the Rejection Doll, and this was apparently a doll that people wanted to bring home with them, but then a bad vibe or something off of it would make them put it back, and it became the Rejection Doll. So we were doing an EVP session with the doll, and I said, do you know why they wouldn't take you home? And we got a clear response and said, because they know that I would play. So a doll coming out and saying they would be active in the home. And I guess, I think a person's intuition, everyone's got intuition, and that's maybe a vibe that some of these objects were giving off. And that's why the doll kept being put down.
Okay, cool.
It's one of the reasons I'm nervous about collecting antiques, because you don't know what's on something.
Yeah, like I love the field, but I don't want to bring the work home with me.
The thing is, guys, every time we go to a garage sale, every time we go to an estate sale, we're taking that chance.
Oh yeah, I'm a big eBayer, so who knows what I have in my house from eBay?
Yeah, I'm saying with you, Nick. I love eBay. I spend more money on eBay than hell at the damn grocery store.
Yeah,
we're probably better off not naming any clients or anything, but we've had clients ask us to dispose of mirrors for them and other objects.
That's a tough question, because a lot of people are asking me that question. Does mirrors that are facing each other, do they actually open portals?
Well, okay, so Travis can identify portals, and he's very good at it. And usually when we get to a location, we start checking out the mirrors right away to see if Travis sees any action in the mirror or not. Now, sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. But he can indicate, and it doesn't always have to be a mirror. It could be a closet or a space or on a wall, but mirrors have a strong tendency. And we've disposed of a mirror for a client. You look at what the Farnsworth went through when they had an uptake in activity there in Gettysburg, and they found out there was a new mirror that somebody had gotten that was a much older mirror in the basement, and that's when the activity ramped up. So I believe they removed that mirror and the activity went down. But mirrors,
They keep it in the basement.
yeah, and mirrors could definitely be portals. They're probably one of the more key ones. And
So if you have two mirrors that are portals and they happen to be portals and they happen to be facing each other, that's a lot.
But the thing is, guys, is I've yet to see scientific proof that two mirrors facing each other are actual portal that can cause a portal. And I don't know if there's proof out there that really happens. So I'm really a big skeptic of it.
I don't know that just because they're facing each other, and for my personal belief, I don't believe that just because they're facing each other, that's going to open the portal, right?
Exactly. So it has to
They
be
already
something.
have to be opened portals. So
Something has to be covered.
Right. If it's two open portals facing each other, that's a lot.
Now, okay.
Well,
Cool.
here's another thing is the amazing thing about Travis is that he can look into a mirror that's an alleged portal. He'll say, yeah, that's a portal or not. And we can ask him, well, what do you see in it? And a lot of times he's able to describe things. He'll say there's hands reaching out of it, or he says there's Native Americans in there, or I think that one of the last locations he saw a teacher that was standing there. And it's just fascinating, these types of instances. Now, we did have a client case a while back. It was a woman that lived in a condo, and there was something that was attacking her and her dog, but it was still in a mirror that was by her bed, and this thing kept banging on the mirror, wanting to get out. Eventually, this entity got out, and it borderline possessed her, to the point where we had to have her cleared and tell her, look, you can't stay anymore at this location, because there was other people there that were opening up portals. They were into conjuring things. And when we had a medium check into this place, he was like, this is like Times Square, the amount of spirits that are here. And that's really the only case that we've said, look, you need to flee this place because it's no good.
Okay.
But this entity was able to bust out of that mirror and do a lot of damage.
Interesting. Why do people, Dave? I'm going to ask this question for you, brother. Why are people afraid of the dark instead of what's in the dark? I hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm so afraid of the dark." Why? Why are you afraid of the dark?
Because the dark's unknown and it cuts your senses off. So without your senses, you have that unknown that creates fear. If I can't see something, I don't know what something's out there. I mean, just look classically at the movie Jaws. The shark cannot be seen in the first hour of that movie, but when that music plays, you know it's under there and you don't know where it is, and the fear ramps up like a crescendo. When someone's in the dark and their senses aren't active, they can't see what's happening, then your imagination can run away with you.
Now, is that one thing? I think that's one thing, Dave, that everybody on this planet fears. It's that word that you just mentioned, the unknown. Everybody fears it because they don't know. So the question I have for you is, how would this planet be if we solved that problem?
Might be a lot quieter, a lot more secure. There's a lot of insecurity out there. It would probably remove a bunch of that. Might make people a lot more comfortable, and but I do always say, if you stay in your safe space, you're never going to grow or learn. You got to step out of your comfort zone to grow and learn.
Exactly.
If we had answers to the unknown, we'd probably be maybe hanging out playing chess or checkers instead of going out to haunted locations worldwide because we wouldn't need those answers because we know them.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. If that answer was ever to be figured out, man, I don't think we'd be doing. Hell, I don't even think we'd be. If we'd be on this podcast, we'd be talking about sports.
Sports and politics, yeah.
We'll be talking about. No, don't say the P word. We won't be talking politics.
Yeah, if you knew the unknown, it would remove religion, which is a major divider for people. So it's, it brings people together when there's no religion to divide you. So
well, you know what, Dave? I got a question for you, but I'm going to bring this up later on into the podcast because it actually has something to do about religion, and it's going to be good. So it's going to be a question that's going to make you think.
All right.
But it's now, the unknown is, oh man, I think if we ever figured that out, I still think there would be chaos. I still think things will happen just because we know, or we really meant to know. Good question.
Mm-hmm. Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Human nature likes division and competition.
And we also like mayhem, chaos, destruction, and everything else that's negative. So
yeah.
I mean,
Gordon Gekko said greed is good. Greed wakes you up in the morning. Greed encapsulates you. It makes you want to be better than the others, and it motivates. So
okay, hey, who's the history buff on the team? Who's the one that does all the research?
Well, I'm a history teacher.
History teacher.
But I'm a high school history teacher, but we take turns with some locations. Mel's dipped really deep into some and done some background. Another team member, Tracy, has done some background on some sites. I can do it on sites as well. I really tie in on the deep history stuff. I know some of the verbiage that could be used in the 17 and 1800s. I used to be a Civil War reenactor. I have the uniform. I know the calls and the orders, and I can go on a battlefield and be able to spatially lay it out in my head. Whether it be Gettysburg, Antietam, or Revolutionary War, you name it. I've studied those battles through and through. So I bring a strong history angle. But when it comes to researching the locations, if I don't research it, if Mel or Tracy go deeper, there are things I can identify in that time period. Who was the president? What was the economy like? Was there a yellow fever outbreak at that time? What would have been in this person's mind, male and female gender expectations in that era? So there are things like, but Mel has definitely done research on some of these locations' backgrounds. Tracy's done it. I've done it. But the ones I don't do, I will jump in and fine tune. If we're getting certain answers, it might spark something in me to say, whoa, wait a minute. Here's another angle for us to think about on that answer. And then I'll just throw it in.
Okay. Now, we're going to change it up for a minute, guys. We're going to bring religion into the conversation because without religion, I think religion and paranormal go hands in hand together. You can't have one without the other. That just may be my opinion. Other people might say otherwise. But let's talk about the Catholic Church for a moment. The Catholic Church has set the foundation for what we are and what we do today. Can we all agree with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in that vault that they have, wherever it is, it probably has some unusual findings. What you guys might say? If you ever open up that vault and just, hey, if somebody gave you 5 minutes to walk through that vault, would you?
Well, why wouldn't you? Curiosity.
Yeah, right. I would. I mean, I'm like that. I'm like this, that. I got to look at this. But can somebody tell me, out of the five of you guys, who was the first paranormal investigator that the Catholic Church sent out to investigate an unknown phenomenon in the world?
I'm leaning towards Nick on that one. I have a feeling.
I have no idea.
Well, I mean, you know, the first paranormal investigators that everyone ever hears about is always Ed and Lorraine Warren, and that's usually where everything kind of builds from there. And then you get all the other ones that came after that. But as far as, you know, stuff that happened before that, it was probably been kept a secret to the point where we don't know. And so you get people like Ed and Lorraine Warren, which, you know, some think that it was controversy between them, but a lot of them, a lot of times, they were presented as being pioneers to this field.
Okay. Now, Dave, where you going? He's looking at me.
So he doesn't whine behind me.
Ah.
Sorry.
You know, Dave, this is where I think me and you might have a disagreement.
Go ahead.
Because you teach history,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, and I was always believed that the first, because his name is just everywhere. I mean, there is no way that one name can be in so many movies, books, TV shows. His name is just out there. And this is, and I could be wrong, but I think the very first paranormal investigator that the Catholic Church sent out to investigate was Gabriel Van Helsing. Now, people say that he don't exist. But the question is, how can one last name there's so much evidence in history about this guy that he has to exist. But like you say, the only truth is in the Vatican and in that vault.
I can tell you, when you look at history, the church's power has ebbed and flow. I think it's on a much lower end now than it's been in past history. I mean, in the middle of the period, the church had a strong grip of the people, so far as they could convince people to buy documents to forgive them for their sins by buying these indulgences and paying the church for a certificate. The church said, "This, you give us money and this gives you forgiveness." The church had a lot of power. We're seeing it with less and less power right now. What's going on in the Vatican, what they have in there, is not something that's in my particular wheelhouse of something I've studied. I can't tell you what's in there. I'll listen to any theory. I'll run with almost anything, but definitely not my wheelhouse, the Vatican. I got 12 years of Catholic schooling, and they almost knocked the religion out of me over those 12 years. So
Yeah.
I have my own belief system. I don't believe in the ritualism, the kneel, sit, pray, do this, do that. I believe in there's some very clear steps as to, we all have a conscience and we all know the difference between right and wrong. A 5-year-old knows the difference between what's fair
Yeah.
and wrong.
And to me, it's weird how, like you're saying, the Vatican, the Catholic Church, at one point had so much power, and over the centuries, they slowly backed away. They're like, man, I don't know if we can keep this under wraps for too much longer, because it's a lot bigger than them. And I don't know if that's the case. I'm thinking it might be, but it's really hard when you look at something and you like, man, these guys set the foundation for what we do today, and they take it and they want to take it all away. It's unbelievable.
I question everything. I question the church. I question the government. I question, big business. I question it all. There's a lot of power there, and how do you get that power, and how do you keep it? Power cannot be created. There's only 100% power, so you can't just make it. You can only redistribute it. And I feel like the church had its power, and it slowly ebbed in percentages away into other facets. But I question everything out there. I'd be curious as to, there's plenty we're not told and we don't know. Government and the church looks at us as they're the parent, we're the child, and we're on a need to know basis.
Now, Nick, do you think as a society and as a species and as a race, do you think something like that, do you think they would ever tell us the truth about something as powerful as that?
I don't think so, because this way they have power over you.
Okay. Now,
I think there are things that they have to brace us for. There are things that they slowly put
Do you need help?
the intent out there, and they throw it out there for us to slowly learn so that we can absorb it, get used to it, and then not have this big ultimate shock. So I think there are things that they'll throw out there from time to time, but they'll hold on if they can.
You can refer to as like the alien footage that they keep filtering out here and there.
The governments are declassifying and announcing and publicly saying, well, yeah, we've been hiding this for this long. And they're all pretty universally going out there and admitting to things now and trying to get our ideas and our minds used to it, because the cat's out of the bag and they can't hide it anymore. I think they hide it if they could, but the minute they can't, then they have to control the narrative. They have to control the story. So,
it's crazy how a group of five, I'm going to say 5 individuals, can have that much power over an entire race of people. Now, I can't see that, but ultimately, I think it would be up to us to decide if we're ready for certain things, and if we are, and if we aren't ready, how long would it take for us to get ready? 100 years, 150 years, 200 years, if ever? That's one of them questions that make you go, Arsenio Hall moment.
Yeah. Mel's plugging on the laptop.
It's one of those things, man. I just don't think I don't think it's fair, and I don't think people should, decide for us on what we're ready and what we're not ready for. Back in in 1947, were they ready for what they saw on the ground that day? No, but they had to deal with it, and they came to understand it and learn from it. You know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking we're not as dumb as what they think we are.
But they do want us in a malaise. They don't want us questioning or challenging. They want us in a malaise where they can control the narrative, and that's power. Whether it's the government, the church, or any other entity.
Yeah, man, that's crazy. Guys, it's really hard and it's mind blowing. For people to have control over a couple billion individuals. You know what I'm saying? So I think we're ready. As if anybody seen Men in Black, the first one, what did he say when he was sitting on that bench? What was the most powerful quote that he said when he was talking to Will Smith on that bench? Anybody remember?
Got to be
I
Nick.
didn't see it. I'm not a movie
It's
person.
been a long time.
Yeah, it's been a
I'm a
while.
movie
Dave's
person,
usually
but
the
that's
movie
not
quote.
mine. Yeah.
Dave's usually the movie quote guy.
Yeah, but that's not one of my movies.
Wow. He said, let me see if I get this right. He said, he said that the human race, no, he said people might not be ready, but the human race is ready for what it's ready for what's out there. You know, and I understood what he's talking about because people can be knuckleheads, but us as a whole, as a human race, we can come together and unify and understand what we need to understand as one, compared to one individual that wants to take it and run with it. That's why he says, "Hey, people are stupid, but the human race is like, hey, I think they can handle this
Mm-hmm.
because all it takes is one individual."
Yeah, well, I mean, when it comes to big things like that, hey, look, if there's an alien invasion or there's some massive thing where God's revealed, like, you know, race, religion, color, gender, it all goes out the window. We're all human beings at the end of the day. And at one point, the whole planet was rooting for us to land on the moon. They weren't rooting for us to fail. I mean, at points, we all come together. It's a commonality that, can't be avoided. As much as we like our division and chaos, there are going to be moments where it's just complete unity.
Now, if somebody was to come out and say, "Hey, man, spirits are real. Everything that you believe in is real," it's how do you think the church would react on something like that?
I just don't know how much control the church has these days. I just don't know if they have the influence they used to have. They're not going to change my mind on something. My belief is my belief. What I see is what I see. And, I don't know. I guess it depends on the individual and how much clout and power they give the church within their own lives. Some people completely ignore the church and do as they will. So it's really down to the individual and how much how much authority they want to give the church.
Because I remember the Blues Brothers, man. Man, when they were in that church and the Holy Ghost was going on, they were doing backflips, spins. James Brown was up there doing whatever he does. Man, he can't get no more Holy Ghost than that.
Yeah.
But if I bring one to the church, if I take this ghost, I'm like, "Hey, man, come hang out with me for a while. We're going to go hang out. I mean, people need to see you." And I take him over here to this Baptist church, man, and I present this guy physically. He's physically seeing. I get the door slammed on him. But the Holy Ghost is something that they can, all that stuff. It's okay. What's the difference between the Holy Ghost and my friend Ted that I was just talking to 20 minutes ago?
Well, I think it's the spiritual belief, which is uplifting, and that's why you get that reaction. You have this uplifting belief, the positivity of it. If you bring in a physical ghost, it's something that people they don't understand it. They think that this is something that's not normal, and I think it's easier to be dismissed that way.
But is it not two of the same though?
They're
Because
technically, yeah. I mean, one is a belief, a spirit, I guess what's the word I'm looking for? It's an
but Ted,
intent.
yeah, but Ted can do the same thing. He can be uplifting. He can be spiritual. He can do everything that the Holy Ghost can do. But he chooses not to. He chose to, be himself.
Well, I think this goes back to the fear of the unknown is something that you don't see every day. So you have a spirit come in, you know, it's just going to be like that scene in Ghostbusters where they're in the library and they go down the aisle and they see a ghost and they run out, you know, versus the belief, the word of, you know, Jesus or the Holy Ghost, and, you know, the power that can bring, the uplifting nature of it.
Okay. Oh man, that's a conversation. That's a conversation for another day, Nick.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Nick
you
has
know,
a tendency to do that.
Terry,
Yes.
man, me and you are best friends. You know, I can picture us hanging out, drinking milk, eating zingers. You know, I can. You know, as long as you buy the zingers, I buy the milk. We're good.
Right? We're good to go.
We got to split this down the middle. You know, spirits, mediums, and clairvoyants. You know, they are unique people. The question that I have for you is, why come? Because to me, it seems like everybody on this planet should have that gift that you have right
I think everybody starts out with this gift, and essentially everybody has this gift, but some of us are more closed off than others, if that makes sense. For example, until 5 years ago, when did we do Conjuring House the first time? 5 years ago?
Probably about 5 years, yeah.
Well, before I started investigating, I didn't know I had anything, right?
now.
I mean, I experienced a few things, but I just thought I was crazy, right? But then we started investigating. I started getting what I called the feels because I didn't know any better. And then we did the Conjuring House, and I was with another medium, and we were just experimenting, and we held hands, and somehow holding hands with this other medium completely opened me up. Not sure why, it just did. So, but I do believe that everybody starts off with these abilities. That's why children can see things more frequently, right? Probably up until they're toddlers, before they start getting kind of scorned by the world, I guess you would say, and they start closing up. But I think everybody has some ability to some extent, and however.
Yeah, Nick was born with the ability to taste different beers and the citrus in them.
It's
The
an
IPA.
amazing ability.
Mhm.
But you know, I mean, really, intent. You know, if there's times where, I mean, that's just a small part of it, but everybody has that. And you know, you go into, you know, a room and you just feel like something's off or whatever. That's just kind of echoing some of these abilities that, you know, you start off with. They just kind of get dulled out with everyday stresses of life.
Yeah.
You know, well, here's another movie, guys. Have you guys ever seen Lucy?
Oh, with Scarlett Johansson.
Yes.
Yeah, and
And
she's opened up and she's got all these crazy abilities,
dude,
and that's just unlocking like just a small percent of her brain. But
small
this is
percent.
completely 100% what you can do, and
Can
who knows really what we can achieve if we were completely open.
Yeah, you know, and even at what 10%, she was messing people up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? 10%, she had control of things. She was able to move things. She was able to change her hair, her eyes. You know, and it was that sense of smell. She was able to see things that, you know, she was seeing. She was looking through trees and see the actual life form of the tree.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine having something like that?
Well,
That would be on.
here's the thing. I think when you die, you'll get that because, for instance, you mentioned like changing the eyes and stuff like that. We know spirits who had passed that came to visit someone who had abilities, and the way that his passing was kind of gruesome. So when he appeared to this medium, he was kind of messed up, and the medium was like, "Why are you showing yourself like this?" And he was able to fix his appearance. I can give you another example. My father, who was in his 90s, passed away, but Travis has been able to see him in his mid 40s. It's, presenting yourself the way that you want to. As a spirit, you can go anywhere you want. You can be in multiple places at the same time. You can change your appearance. We had a spirit that was in our house creating activity, weird things going on, the dogs reacting. We had noises, footsteps above. We had the medium send a couple of our spirit friends into the house, and they said that there was something in the house that looked kind of grotesque, and it was hiding in closets. And they finally confronted this entity, and it was a woman that projected herself to be kind of nasty looking and smelly, because it was like a self-defense mechanism to put fear into other spirits not to mess with her. She was just projecting herself this way. And she was just a school bus teacher that died in a crash, half hour from me. So with some paranormal therapy, she went back to her family instead of being here. She just needed to kind of be told, it's okay, you can go back, go to your family. So, there's a lot of different abilities that you get. I think when you die, it's sort of like a video game where the more experience that you get, you can start learning things. Like the movie Ghost, for example, Patrick Swayze, he's trying to move an object, and then he eventually can do that. And eventually it gets to the point where he can push an intruder out of the way. So the more that you work on your skills, you'll level up and be able to do even more things in the afterlife.
Okay.
And we do believe that, and we learned this when my brother passed away a couple years ago. Other spirits, because we have spirit friends, right? So other spirits can kind of mentor newly deceased spirits in how to live in what I call the dead life. Remy, you should stop.
And do pranks on Terry, which was
100%. So when my brother died, I was so desperate, and I haven't been able to connect with him. And I assume he's doing that to protect me. We had other spirit friends, but I was so desperate just to know that he was okay because of the way he passed. I had to know that he was okay. And we had other spirit friends, the same one that Nick was talking about a few minutes ago that showed himself in a not so good way, and then fixed himself. He was teaching my brother how to do pranks in the dead life, and I would get squirted with water in my face at night as I slept. And we actually, because I had to put a camera in my bedroom, we actually got some camera footage of something walking in my bedroom and coming right over to my face.
And then you're reacting to it,
and
too.
you see my reaction, like that I woke up. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Wow. And I, previously to this, we didn't know that they could do something physical like with water or something like that. But that went on for weeks. And it took me a little while to put it together that it was my brother and this other spirit teaching him how to do things in the dead life. But they played with my phone while I was on it. It was quite frustrating. And I would say at times my brother and I actually had arguments while I'm living and he's dead, because I just wanted him to let me sleep.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Dave, you're a history teacher, man. A lot of respect for what you do and how you handle these kids, especially the kids today. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Some of them come from single families, no control, out of control. I've seen the worst of them, and I've seen the best of them. But the year 2100 is coming soon, a lot sooner than what we think. It's maybe what 70. How many years to the year
76,
2100?
76.
76 years. So, are these kids today, or the next group of paranormal investigators, are they ready to perceive us as investigators? Are they ready?
In that aspect, I would say yes, not other things, but on that, I would say yes. There is an intrigue, there is a want to question, there's a want to challenge reality. Their technology is going to be through the roof, and they are a very tech savvy grouping. Um, and I think they're going to, kick doors open and move forward. I don't feel that about everything with them. I do feel that paranormal and investigating and kicking doors open, I think, is going to be something they're going to excel at.
But let me tell you about a little problem that they might have. And I've seen this because I've experienced with the generation of kids today, and all of them aren't like this. But a lot of them do not have the respect that they need to be paranormal investigators.
That is a very valid point.
Yeah.
They do lack social graces today. They're a different grouping this generation. It's hard to make eye contact. It's hard for them to feel empathy like our generation does. They've been desensitized to so many different things that, yeah, you're right. That's probably going to be a blocker for them where their technology might be stronger. But reading the room, reading the mood, understanding what's going on doesn't come to them as handily as it came to us. So I think it's a very valid point that I wasn't even considering when you first answered the question.
Yeah. Because paranormal investigating, it all goes back to the basics. You can have all the technology.
Yeah, I agree.
You can have all of this.
Yep.
But if you're not able to communicate with me,
yeah, how
and to you guys when it's our time, it's not going to work.
Yeah, because you're going to have two things. You're going to have respect, and you're going to have empathy. And if you don't bring those two things to the table, it's not going to go very far at all.
Well, can I add just one more thing to that? And
Sure.
you gotta have patience.
Sure.
Something that these kids are not learning.
No, because they're used to instant gratification. Everything's at the fingertip. I've noticed with today's generation where we could sit down and watch a movie, they could barely get through a trailer. It's got to have their attention, and their attention will wane. I mean, when you're used to watching quick clips and TikTok and, a quick little story on Instagram, they're used to flashes. And, they're looking for the explosion and the car chase and oh my God, that's incredible. And if it doesn't do that, if there's talking, if there's dialogue, if it's going deeper, they tap out very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I don't disagree with anything you're saying there.
So, is there time to correct that?
We're going to have to look down the road. I don't know what's going on in the elementary schools these days. Every class seems to get a little different. Do keep in mind, we are working currently with COVID kids that lost 2 years of socialization. So a maturity and social skills, they've lost a couple years now. And we're going to have to see. Hopefully it hasn't affected those that are much younger, and hopefully we'll see the tide start to turn back in the other direction. But when it comes down to what those kids are going to do, it really comes down to just how desensitized are they? How much empathy can they be willing to show? Because without that, I mean, where are we going? How are you going to talk to someone in the afterlife when you can't even empathize with the fact that this person didn't want to die when they died and misses their family and wants to communicate and is frustrated and is trying to resolve something? And if you come in there disrespectful or without empathy for that spirit, it ain't going far. It's going to be a real quick conversation.
Real quick. And and when I talk to people today and I tell them what I do, especially the younger generation, they think it's so cool. They think it's this, they think it's that. But let's not get it twisted, guys. It's like when I tell them, let's not get it twisted. This is not what you see on TV. It's far from it. And when I brought up Hollywood earlier, I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, but Hollywood, the way that they do things all over there, they're brainwashing the kids on the way that they think that paranormal investigating is.
Mhm.
And it's not the way, it's far from it.
No, it's not about a knock on the wall or I heard a bang or something felt. That's not paranormal investigating. That's ghost hunting.
Yeah, I mean,
Go ahead.
even if when you look at Hollywood sensationalizing like exorcisms and demonic possessions and all, it's much different than it actually is in real life. When you're seeing someone who's undergoing an actual possession, it's not like you're not spitting pea soup out or spinning your heads or things like that. It's much more calmer, I think, but still a little bit crazy. But that's the thing between reality and movies is movies will it's more exciting when you see all this crazy stuff. And I think a lot of kids that watch these movies, that's what they expect, especially if they're going to be going into these haunted locations.
And it's not, what we do is very dangerous.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't put that dangerous into the aspect of paranormal, but it is.
Well, and that's especially true. When we investigate, we always come with utmost respect. We introduce ourselves. If you come and you start challenging spirits, not only can you put yourself or your friends in danger, but the people that may run a location, they may have to end up paying for your stupid behavior. You can have something follow you home and mess with you there, and that's just never a fun thing.
It's never a fun thing, and as much as I try to tell them, if you really want to be a true paranormal investigator, just read a book on it. Because one book would turns into two books, turns into three books, and before you know it, you done read a whole encyclopedia on paranormal investigating. The right way, the wrong way on how to do things. But if you really look at it, and the more I probably tell maybe 10 kids out of that, two would probably do it. The other eight would probably do it the Hollywood way. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things, man. If you can get those two to be successful, that really helps out, our community as a whole, as paranormal investigators or the future paranormal investigators. But those other eight, they're going to go down the path they don't want to go down.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So I think now, Dave, we have to get to them now. We really do.
Trying.
Because if not, that generation, and you know what? And what's so crazy about it, it's going to lead to the next generation. Can you imagine what the next, if the generation after us don't get it right, can you imagine what the generation after them going to do?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be lost.
That's why I think it's great that Dave has the Paranormal Club, because this is the kind of things that people who want to investigate need to know, and how to do things the correct way and to show the respect. So Dave covers a lot of different topics when he's doing these paranormal clubs, and that's why I think a lot of these kids are receptive to that. They are hearing it from someone who knows how to do it, who's successful doing this, and that's what they need, is someone to kind of show them that it's like this. It's not like it is on TV.
Right. And that's why, I got a lot of respect for you, brother, because the future of us is on your shoulders. And I don't know if you think that's big, but to me, any person that's in a very particular environment like you're a history teacher, and you want to teach kids, I think, I think there's a lot of weight on your shoulders, because eventually these kids are going to go out into the world, and they're going to look for Dave as a mentor, as a person that led them down the right path. And then we're not even talking about the next people after them. It's going to go on and on and on and on and on.
Mhm.
And I just hope that these kids understand what you're trying to teach them. If
Yeah.
not,
You know,
it's not.
the big battle right now is getting the technology out of their face. The addiction to the phones and the always on the MacBook. Um, Sometimes you just want to get the technology away from them and just, hey, have a conversation with a human being, look somebody in the eye, read the room, read the mood of the room, get a sense of what's going on around you, have empathy
Yes.
for the person next to you, understand that everyone that came in here today had an experience and might not come in the best of moods. And it's just those kind of things. And, I do try and go over all those things, those life lessons. I'm a life lesson guy. I was in business for 12 years. I'm willing to tell my students I've hired and fired people, and I can, I can give them a dose of reality when they're leaving that school. But at the end of the day, are they receiving the message? And,
Yeah, man, it's
there's kids that they lift me up, and I know there's going to be enough kids that, they'll turn the corner, and, understand when you're dealing with high school kids, they're not fully matured yet. Their character's developing, but they're not fully matured yet. And there's kids that have left my world and then re-entered it, and I was stunned to see the progress. So I always keep that in mind, that what I'm dealing with right now is not the finished product by any stretch.
Yeah, it's hey Terry, there was a movie last, and I'm glad we're talking about it. There was a movie that came on last night about a very powerful medium, and she caught my eye because the teacher was pretty much doing the same thing Dave was doing. They were in a very specific class that the principal has granted to them. It's like, okay, well, if you're gonna teach the paranormal, it's got to be a small class. So what he did was, because he thought that they were playing with them. They never believed nothing he said until they brought this medium in. And the kids were sitting in the chair, and the medium came up, looked every one of those kids in their eyes, and told them what they were doing wrong. And they were shell shocked. They were like, yeah. And she was like, you need to clean your room. You need to do this. And it was crazy because everything that she did was on point. Was on point. And after she went down the line through the 12, she had everybody's attention. And when she had the attention of all the 12 students that he was trying to teach them, she walked out the office, and the rest was history. Dave, maybe that's what you need to do.
Hey, there's a lot of things, a lot of ingredients that go into this recipe, and I'll always
Yeah, I know.
try them and add them, and
All right, guys. Well, you know what? It's been an hour and 49 minutes. Mind you, 20 minutes I had to fix my damn speak my camera and speaker and all that. But let me see here. This question is going to go to all of you guys. And I want you to really think about this for a minute. It's going to be one of those Arsenio Hall moments. Okay, how many of you guys live in a house? Any of you guys got basements?
Yeah.
Dave, I've been picking on you enough. I'm going to let you have this one. Melissa, okay, you sleep pretty heavy, but you woke up one morning and Nick was in the kitchen cooking pancakes, eggs, and all that
She
stuff, but you
wishes.
wasn't worried about it.
This sounds like a dream.
Yeah, I'm not awake then.
And when you said she's sleeping heavy, I guess her reputation has got out.
Mel cooking? What?
But
No,
but you woke up and you weren't worried about that. You had a dream that night and you want to figure this thing out. Nick, do you got any tools?
Yeah. We've got
Okay,
two.
well, damn. Is Melissa allowed to touch your tools?
As long as
Because she did in this
that.
dream. She did in the dream.
She did in the
I'm gonna let you
dream.
know.
Why are you
Yeah.
touching my tools?
But so she went down in the basement and she locked the door behind her because she had to focus. She's like, man, I gotta focus. I gotta do this. And you went and you picked up a hammer and not knowing what you were doing, you were just tapping on things and you were like, oh man, I gotta get this, get that. You ran the Home Depot, picked up this, picked up that, and you came back. And like 8 hours later, you come up with something like this. And you not knowing what it is, you just built it. So Nick knocks on the door, you let him in, and you like, babe, what are you building? And she looked and looked, hey, I don't know, I just built it, And she was like, you grabbed it and you see the switch, so you hit that switch, boom. You felt this energy come through you. It wasn't like an EMP type of energy, but it was like energy. And all you guys were shocked. And you're like, Melissa, what did you just build? You're like, I don't know. I have no clue. I just dreamed about it and I built it. And, so it opened up a window. It
But
opened up
now
a
we're
window.
getting rich because she's building iPhones.
Yeah.
It opened up a window and you was able to see, it was sort of like a projector. It was just like that. So you were like, man, where the hell did all these people come from? You're just looking and you see people going about their everyday life. Hey, there's a Starbucks over there. There's a Home Depot over there. Hell, there's even a Macy's in a mall.
Having a coffee shop from this portal that opened up, that's a good idea. This would
Yeah.
save me in the morning. Right,
So, but one thing caught your eye. You were looking and somebody looked back at you. Your great-great-great-grandmother. She looked at you and she waved and said, hi, Melissa. She actually pops in. You guys talk for hours. You're like the family. She's like telling you the family's doing good. Grandpa's doing good. Everybody's doing good. We're just waiting for you to come whenever you decide to get here. You know what I'm saying? And Grandma looked at the watch. I don't know if she had a watch or not, but she's like, oh, I gotta get home and cook dinner for Grandpa. She steps back, she waves at you, and she walks off. You look at Nick, Nick looks at you and is like, did this really happen? Time flies by. It's like 3 hours later, 4 hours later. You hit that switch, and Nick has a pool table down there. So you put that box on the pool table, and you're like, what the hell did I just build? And it all comes to you. You actually built a box that you can see, speak to everyone on the other side. No matter who it is, what it is, you're able to communicate with the other side. And Nick said, babe, what am I going to do with this? And that's where your mind going to run. Because I think they're ready, or do I put this back on the shelf because I think they're not ready? Which would you decide to do, Melissa? Wait, before you even answer, it's one of those Arsenio Hall moment things. So you have to do it like this and think about it.
I don't think I would share it with the world. Select people, but I don't think everybody would be ready for that.
Tell me, can you tell me why you think people won't be ready for it?
I feel like there would be maybe people who just lost someone and it would affect their grief negatively, or maybe they would try to use it for the wrong reasons, to try and get information, to try and change things, and then that would alter, all kinds of, I guess, our reality somehow. I think it could be good and bad.
Okay, Nick, what would you do with that type of power?
I would just share it between my team and study it. And this is not something that I would put out there, because everyone I know who's lost someone would be like, hey, can I talk to so-and-so through this? It'd be too much. And as far as something like this, I think it would just be so outside of the box and so crazy that people would ridicule it or say it's staged or it's fake, and it's just not worth the drama. I can experience this on my own, have my own experiences with this with my team, and try and learn more about the unknown with this new thing that we have.
Okay, now Terry, what would you do, my friend?
Yeah, I definitely would not share it with the world. Real quick, if my battery dies, I'll have to get back on from my phone.
Okay.
But yeah, I can't see sharing it with the world. I think it would be too much. I think everyone would try to contact every loved one that passed. And as Melissa said, that's not going to help with their grieving process. But it's something that I would like to have amongst the team. And, do our own investigating with it and do our own experimenting and learning with it.
Interesting. Okay, I'll get back. You three guys, I'll get back with you in a minute. But Dave, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say on that.
I build out. I start with my bullseye of people, and then I build a little bit outwards as to those I think that are accepting. So if you're looking at a target, I start at the bullseye, and then I broaden my tribe a little bit as time goes by, as people are accepting of it. And then if I feel it's going in the wrong direction, I have the power to stop it at that point.
Okay.
Travis said he'd have it on eBay on day one.
Okay, guys. Now, Dave, let's look at your point for a minute. If you was to share this with the world,
I didn't say,
like you say, with the small portion,
and work your way out.
And let's say, for an example, that it got out.
Cat's
now,
out of the bag.
How do you think the world would react towards that? How do you think the church would react towards that? How do you think governments would react towards that?
I don't know if the church would want to acknowledging could cause them quite a bit of problems. I think the government would be knocking on my door. And I don't know, with the general public, like, again, when I say my bullseye, I mean my small inner circle. And then I could take it as far out as I want to go. I'm not talking like I'm going outside of my county of New Jersey. But I could broaden it to close friends and then maybe cousins and work my way out. But I'm not talking about putting billboards up and marketing it. And no, I would want to stay in control of it. I'd be afraid of opening too big a Pandora's box that could lead to issues and more crises, which we don't need.
Yes.
I think I would like my inner circle to benefit from it without it getting too far away from me.
You know, I understand, and I disagree, and I might agree with some of you guys. Now, Dave,
Mm-hmm.
with you, your inner circle. Could you trust your inner circle? Anybody outside of your team?
Oh, sure. Yeah. My wife, my sister, just to start off with a few. Very close personal friends.
Because you do know wars have started for far less.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm not looking to start a war outside of my inner circle. It's like if they don't see it as a benefit, then they don't have to acknowledge or access. It's for those
Okay.
that want the opportunity.
Okay, so all the five of you guys have agreed that you would keep it within the circle, and you would eventually put it on the shelf. Okay, so at what point would you think that society is ready for something?
I don't
How
know
many
that
of you-
society will ever be ready for something like that.
I was gonna say the same. I don't think they would be.
Dave, Nick, what do you guys think?
I agree
Robert?
with the majority here. They wouldn't be ready for it.
I would caveat that with I don't think everyone's ready, but they don't all have to be ready. Do we hold back the ones that are ready because of the ones that aren't?
I think you would do it before the greater good of the planet.
Yeah, I mean, I see it as an opportunity for those that are willing, and those that aren't ready or don't accept don't have to.
Okay.
Take it or leave it.
I think putting it out there is just asking for problems, because you would have government confiscated. They would probably do all sorts of who knows what with it, and it would just be too many problems.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. It would be a lot of problems, but
Yeah, like I feel like this is a trap, and I don't know if I'm the only one seeing this and realizing it, or if you guys haven't picked this up yet. We're all criticizing the government for treating us like children and not revealing stuff to us. But if we were in the same situation, we'd do the same thing.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just want to make sure. Is that where we're going with this?
hey, I'm not saying anything. I'm not. I'm leaving. Hey,
I thought
I'm
we were
just-
being set up here or something like, oh, really? You guys criticize the government and the church, but now you're going to do exactly what they did,
hey, that's what makes this podcast show so great because I value people's opinion. And it's great to hear different points of views and on what you would do and what they wouldn't do. It's great like that. And that's the reason why I have the show. And I'm going to tell you guys what I would do. Anybody curious to know?
Of course.
Wow.
Let's hear it.
You mean you haven't thought about this?
I thought about it in my sleep, and I've also looked at it in my dreams, and I know that something this big, it would cause nothing but destruction. Religions would fall
Sure.
because of the whole, Oh yeah, religions will fall, governments will fall, countries will fall. It will total chaos.
Hmm.
So I'm in totally agree with you guys. You know what? I probably won't even share it with my friends. I will probably put it on the shelf for the next. Oh my God, dude. Let's see. I'm 20 now. I could say for the next 60 years. Dave, I saw that.
You guys sound like the government. We'll tell you
You
what
know,
happened to Kennedy when we die.
it's one of those things that you just gotta. This all goes back to when we were talking about the Catholic Church and the vault, on how the Catholic Church holds things and so on and so on. And there's some things in there that we're ready for, we're not ready for, and I just had to throw that in there just to see what you guys would think and if you guys will react towards, like you said, Dave, towards what the Catholic Church has done for thousands of years, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's so you guys will pretty much do the same thing, and it was a try, Dave. I'm glad you caught it. I'm glad you caught it. All right, guys. Hey, man, we're going on 2 hours and 5 minutes. One more question, and I want you guys to be honest with me. And I'm going to start with Terry. You ready for this? This is a pretty hard question. You know, man, where would you like to go on your bucket list? Any place in the world, paranormal investigate. Where would you like to go?
Um, we've hit a lot of good ones. Myrtle
Yeah,
Manor's on my bucket list in New Orleans.
you ain't come to Texas yet.
Is it
Not yet.
Myrtle's Plantation? It's no, we haven't been out in Texas. Is it Myrtle's Plantation in New Orleans or Myrtle?
Myrtle's Plantation.
Yeah, that we were scheduled to go there once, and New Orleans flooded, and we had to divert to Savannah. There's a lot of good ones out there. The Stanley, which
We're going there.
have coming up in July. The Winchester House. I would really love to get to the Winchester House. So,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, Dave. Where would you like to go, brother?
I've been to a lot of the good ones. We got a lot of good ones on the bucket list coming up. For me, I think I've hit a lot of states and a lot of places. I would like to go outside the country. I'd love to hit an Irish castle.
Okay.
Get out there and just something in London or something in Ireland or something.
Somewhere
The
where they speak English.
catacombs. I think the catacombs would be a good place.
Oh yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
Hey, I would go and I will throw 500 cat balls in that place and just, hey, light it all up.
And then the ghost would say, "Why are you doing this cat ball thing again?"
Yeah, you're right. All right, Nick, where would you like to go, brother?
I'd love to head out west to the Omen House, which is the spot where the Sharon Tate murders happened. I think that would be really fun. And the guy there, David Omen, does open it up for paranormal investigating. So once we do make it out to LA, definitely go and do that. And I was there on the outside trying to find it because I'm one of these morbid freaks that likes to go to where brutal things happen, because it's in part of the nature of the field is the history of trauma and things like that. So it's an interesting but tragic story. I think it would be fascinating to see if we can make contact with Sharon Tate.
Okay. Melissa, the lady that built the box, where would you like to go?
I don't have specific locations. I have like specific types. Like I very much enjoy asylums. Those are my favorite types of locations. But I do agree with Dave as far as like the Irish castles and like stuff like that also.
Okay, cool. And Mr. Travis, where would you like to go, sir?
Dairy Queen.
An ice cream shop.
Good ice cream shop.
Well, actually, guys, down here in Texas, we do have the Coca-Cola Museum where they supposedly made the first cut of the first can of Coca-Cola. And it's in Waco, Texas, and it's supposed to be hella haunted.
I've been to Waco outside of Branch Davidian, and that's another location that I would love to do that I don't think has ever been investigated.
Probably not.
We've actually tried to get there, but oh man, believe it or not, man, the people, they're still there. It's a community, and they are very picky who comes on their property.
I've been on the property. When we went there, the gate was closed, so we circled around back. We came back to the gate. The gate was open. We're like, okay. So we went inside, and there was nobody there, just a stray cat or something like that. We parked. We got out. We didn't see any people. We got to see the monuments that they have there for David Koresh and all the names and stuff like that. And it was just a really creepy feeling there. But
yes,
definitely.
They actually, the foundation, I think, is still there. So if you guys would have got that far to the foundation, that would have been great because we've actually tried to get on there. And you know what? And what's so crazy about it, the government just recently, I think within the last 5 years, released that property.
Mm-hmm. And that flagpole is still standing up too that you see in all those videos.
Oh yeah. So Travis, where would you like to go besides Dairy
Queen?
Jenna Ortega's house.
Yeah.
Who is Jenna Ortega?
An actress.
Oh.
She plays Wednesday Addams.
What?
Yeah, he's gonna marry her.
Wait. No, she did not. No. What's her name plays? The Wednesday Addams, I know.
The new Netflix show.
Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I was about to say, yeah, man. There's only one Wednesday Addams I know of, and that's what's her name?
Ricci?
Huh?
Christina Ricci?
Yeah, Christina.
Yeah, no, this is the newer Netflix show.
See, they're messing up. Hollywood ain't got nothing else better to do.
She's in the new ones though, Christina.
But she's not in the. Yeah, she's in the new one, but I liked it better in the old ones. Are they made by real Girl Scouts? Come on, dude. Who makes us stuff like that?
Yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, it has been a pleasure, man, having you guys
definitely.
on. Dave.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Melissa, Nick, Dave, Terry, Travis. Appreciate it, man. I really do. You guys were patient with me with all the technical difficulties. Hey, you see, I just threw all that stuff to the side and I went old school with it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but hey, I appreciate you guys. Hey, tell the world how to get a hold of you.
Nick.
Well, you can go on to our website, eastcoastspiritchasers.com. We've got our whole portfolio of locations. It's probably like 170 locations on there that we've investigated. You can go on, see us on Facebook. Just search East Coast Spirit Chasers. Same with TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. And we're always going live from locations. We've got little clips of really impressive evidence that stands out. And we'll also be putting out a documentary later this year. It's called The Conscious Afterlife. We dropped a trailer for it about a month ago. Definitely go to our social media and check that out.
All right, guys. Hey, man, if you guys are ever up in the Jersey area, hey, man, feel free. If you guys looking for a place to investigate, feel free to drop in, man, and chat with these guys. Call them before, they might be at work,
Yeah, we all do have real jobs.
Yeah, so they might be at work. So you guys might want to call them before you head up there. But hey, like I said, man, it's been a pleasure. Dave, Travis, Terry, Nick, and Melissa. It's been a very interesting conversation. And, I would love to do it again with you guys sometime down the line. But hey, one thing I do is I'll call and check up on you guys, and see how you guys are doing. So be expecting a phone call here within the next month or two just to pop in and say hello, and
Perfect.
see how you guys are doing. You know what I'm saying? But, hey, this is Terry with NSPS TV Paranormal Podcast Show, Friday edition. See
Thank
you guys
you.
later. Hey,
Thank you.
Terry, before you go, hey,
Yes.
I like whole milk, and I don't care for the strawberry zingers, but I do like the chocolate and the yellow ones.
Oh, I
So
prefer the
Get on
strawberry.
that, Terry. Bring it
Yeah,
to
I'll get right on that.
yes, please. Hey, I'm gonna email you, and I don't know how long before the milk goes bad before you send it here. But if you can put it in a cold freight and send it to me, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll make sure to do that.
All right, guys. You
All
guys
right, thank you
enjoy
so much.
yourself, man.
Take care.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, thank you.
I know nothing with any certainty. I know nothing with any certainty, but the sight of the stars make me dream. Gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. Hey, tonight we were in New Jersey, and dude, those guys were great, weren't they? I really appreciate them guys coming on the show, man. They have a lot of information that you guys want to go up there, man. I'm pretty sure they would show you a good time. But tomorrow, we are with All Out Paranormal. They will be on the show tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central. So feel free to reach out, and join us, and let's get these numbers up, man. So all you guys that want to show tonight, hey, feel free to reach over to my podcast channel and hit that like, share, subscribe button. I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? But hey, I gotta get out of here. I got things to do. And plus, I'm running out of drink. In the meantime, peace, guys. See you in the Lions Den tomorrow night.